Hey guys, and welcome to my YouTube page, Come Cook With Me, Ash P. I'm Ash P, and today we're gonna make ratatouille. Okay, so the way that we get started is by adding some olive oil, some extra virgin olive oil to the pan. Just a little. And then we're gonna get cutting our fruits our vegetables. So right now I have an onion, and depending on how much you love onion, you can do either a whole or a half. I'm just gonna do about a quarter of an onion. Oh, it smells so good. I love onions. All right. And I'm gonna cut them into small portions. Okay, so when I'm making ratatouille, I like to cut the vegetables that are going to need to saute the longest. So in this case, it's going to be the green onion and the red onion.
Mommy, pepper.
We also are going to put in zucchini and some yellow squash and also some mushroom. And then we'll season it as we go. Let's start by cutting the pepper. I just cut on the side. That way I can easily de-seed the pepper. Then I cut it in half, and I cut the bottom off here. Okay, and you're gonna want these to be relatively small. That way they don't take too long to cook or get soft. And for traditional ratatouille, you can do, like when I cut these into smaller pieces too, so it cooks quicker. But you can do like the round pieces if you would like, if you think it's more along your style. Okay, so now we're gonna cut the zucchini and the squash. For the zucchini, I just cut off both ends. Have it. And while I'm doing this part of it, I'm gonna put in my peppers along with the onions, and I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of garlic powder over. Okay, now for the zucchini, I'm gonna make them about 1/2 of an inch long. And I'm not gonna put them in the pan until, here, what did I do? I'm not gonna put them in the pan until I have all of them cut up. Right now we're just letting the peppers and the onions get soft and saute a little bit. And then later, I'm gonna show you guys how I make a yummy sauce with the leftovers of ratatouille, because I need something yummy to put over my zoodles. I'm gonna use my ratatouille sauce that I like to use for soups, pastas. There's so many things you can do with leftovers instead of just eating the leftovers, which to me tends to be a little bit boring, and I usually shy away from eating leftovers because of that. Okay, now I'm just gonna sprinkle, I usually have fresh garlic, but I'm all out. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of garlic powder over my veggies and a little bit of salt. Over the shoulder for luck, and some pepper. Maybe you can hear it sizzling already. This is just at about medium heat. If you think it's cooking up too fast, then you can turn it down a little bit. You'll really turn the heat up once you get the canned tomatoes in and you want to bring it to a boil. Look at how pretty that is. Oh. Okay, so now that you know what kind of size zucchini pieces we're gonna do, I'm gonna do the same thing with the squash, and then I'll show you how I cook my mushrooms. Okay, so now we're gonna cook or cut the yellow squash. I love yellow squash, so yummy. And can't you hear that sizzle? Oh, so excited. This is one of my favorite summer meals. It's just so light and refreshing. And like I said, there's so many things you can do with the leftovers. You don't just have to eat the leftovers. Okay, so same thing with the squash. And you can put in as many or as few as you would like. I'm the only one that really eats this besides Donnie because it's just too many obvious vegetables for the girls right now, but that's why I like to make it into a sauce or a soup, and then they really have no idea that they're eating such yummy vegetables. Okay, so we've got the squash cut up. We're gonna put the squash and the zucchini in with the peppers. Traditional ratatouille has eggplant in it, but I do not like the texture of eggplant, so I leave it out. Okay, turn the heat down just a little bit, give it a good stir. Be sure that you do not burn your onion, or if you're using fresh garlic, you do not want to burn either of those. Turn the heat down if you have to. It doesn't have to be at medium heat. Okay, now we're just going to let these sit in here and saute for a little bit, and then I will show you how I do mushrooms. Usually I do Bella mushrooms, but they didn't have them at the store today, so I just bought steak cut mushrooms. Nice little thick chunks. I love cooked mushrooms, so I'm gonna use quite a bit. I'm saving the rest for a mushroom sauce that I have an idea for. So for the mushrooms, all I'm gonna do is cut them in half. And then put them in little tiny pieces. Not super tiny, just enough that you can really get the texture and the flavor of them into the dish. I'm so hungry for this already. Can't wait. Okay, maybe just a couple more. Since I love a mushroom so much. Okay. And while they soften, we'll add some salt and pepper, and then Okay, so I use a can of diced tomatoes. It's a large can. If you're making a smaller batch, you can always use a smaller can of tomatoes. Okay, this is my favorite part. Oh, all the flavors are just gonna sit in here and boil for about 30 minutes and really start to marry in their flavors together. Turn the heat back up so that it gets a little bit simmery. Okay, now I'm gonna just add a little more garlic powder, just depending on what you like. And when you use dried spices or herbs or flavorings, make sure you put it into your hand and then kind of liven the flavor back up by squeezing it into your fingers. I usually put red pepper flakes in here, but I'm all out, so I can't do that this time. But this is just a few Italian seasonings instead. Okay, and so you will let this sit on medium heat with it covered for about 30 minutes, just kind of checking on it every now and then. And once it's all done, I'll show you guys what I'm gonna do with it next. Okay, so I'm just taking a little sneak peek to see if the veggies are all done. It's nice and hot. Let's start with the peppers. Oh my God, they're perfect. So soft. Squash needs just a little more time. Let's see about the mushroom. Mushrooms are my fave. So good. It's just gonna look like a nice, yummy stew. Hearty. Look at this. This is gonna fill you up. And it's so colorful and it's so good for you. Okay, we're gonna let that sit for just a little bit longer. And then I'll show you what I'm gonna do. So I said I usually make soups or sauces for pasta or pizza or like a pizza bread or something like that. So instead what I'm gonna do is make zoodles and use it as a zoodle sauce. So this thing I got at Walmart for like $2. Show you guys how easily this thing works. Okay, just stick your veggie in. So you can use any vegetable you want. I'm just using zucchini because I like zucchini, and I think it will match up well with this sauce because it has zucchini in it already. So look at this thing is just super easy to use. And look at, very noodly. You can eat it raw if you would like, but I'm gonna toss it in some olive oil and salt and then add the sauce to it. I'm just gonna cut off this little part because it starts to get stuck after a while. Oh, actually, this might be too big. It is. You can really smell the onion cooking in the ratatouille. It's so good. All right, well, make sure you buy a zucchini that's thin enough to get through this, unless you have your own at home. That is easier to use on smaller ones. Okay, I'm gonna get that sauteed in the pan and then I'll show you what I do next. Okay, so now we have our ratatouille done and our zoodles are all zoodled up. I'm gonna throw it in a pan with olive oil. Listen for it. Oh, yummy. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit of salt and pepper, and then I'll turn the heat off because it doesn't need very long. Okay, now what I do for the sauce is take a couple of scoops and put them into, if you have like a blender or a Ninja or whatever it is that you use for blending purposes. Just take a couple of spoonfuls. A little bit of the juice. You don't want it to get stuck in there. If you have to add a little bit of water, you can do that as well.
This looks like you. This looks like yours.
Okay, what you don't want to do is try to blend it up while it's piping hot. It just exploded all over me. Look at that. So that's a big no-no. So you're gonna wanna let it chill, and it's burning my skin. You're gonna wanna let it chill before you try to do that. So be right back, I gotta get cleaned up. Okay, so I have a little bit of the mess cleaned up. I have my face cleaned up anyways, and my arm is a little bit burnt, but we're gonna be okay. I just wanted to show you this. I just actually started eating before even showing you guys, but it looks a little bit sloppy and messy, but it's delicious. Just sprinkle a little bit of cheese on it, whatever kind you like. I like grana padano.
Don't cut my cow.
So good, and it's so healthy. And you can eat this all guilt-free. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe.
Don't eat me. Don't eat me.
Like and subscribe to get all the most frequent updates for when I post videos and recipes. And then also check out Come Cook With Me ashp.wordpress.com to get all my recipes. Okay, everyone have a good one. Bye. Stop. It won't stop.
Yes, it is.
It won't stop. Why won't it stop? Oh, let's see. Where's my automatic thing?
It's trying to eat my candy. Hide in your candy. Hide.
You guys, did I mess up the remote? Anyone know where my remote to my video camera is?
I'm trying to eat all my candy. Candy's so good.
Where did it go? Oh, what did I do with it? Did I lose it in the explosion? You guys, where's the little tiny black
We're
remote?
playing, Mama. Mama, we're playing.
Okay, but I still lost. Oh, here it is. Maybe this will work.